Hey y'all, it is a new week at the Hyatt house and we are still working in the kitchen. I think today we're gonna finish that kitchen floor and then we're gonna start working on the kitchen walls. We've got a little rot around a window that we need to address, and then hopefully we're gonna move to another room. So let's go inside and let's see if the guys have finished that kitchen floor yet. You hear the saw going, we'll see what they're working on. We're still in the kitchen, but look, we finally got all the floor joists, all the bracing. We are good to go. And now we're gonna start working on these crooked walls. The first thing that we are doing is building a new secondary wall on the back of this room. You remember that we did that in this room because we just weren't quite sure about the integrity of that beam. And this beam is even worse. So we are just building a new wall. Gonna help distribute that load from upstairs. There was a door that had been added from here to what we're calling the wallpaper room. We are closing that door back in. It wasn't original and we're ready for it to go. It makes the flow much better. So we're losing a little square footage in this room, but we're gonna support the second floor. Still working on this kitchen. Still trying to figure out exactly the floor plan. I'm gonna work on that today. So that's what we're doing in here. Once we finish building that wall, we're gonna start blocking in and dealing with some of our less than stellar wood in these walls. So we've finished the wall at the back of the kitchen, and now we're working on the front of the kitchen. So you might remember there was a wall here, and then there wasn't a wall, and now we're building a new wall. This is where the primary kitchen cabinets are going to be, and that wall, it wasn't flush this way, it wasn't level, it leaned in this way, and it leaned that way. So we decided the best thing to do was just take this wall out and reframe right here where all of our kitchen cabinets are going to be. Also, it was different thicknesses. All the studs were different thicknesses. So I'm always for saving original when I can, but in this case, I think this is going to be a better move than trying to shim out all of our kitchen cabinets. All right, so we now have the wall back up, that wall dividing the kitchen from the hallway, and we went ahead and added all of our blocking into this wall. Now we're working our way around, so we are going to be prepared for a kitchen when the time comes to hang the cabinets. So a new day, we've got that kitchen wall completely reframed. We're adding more wood and blocking for when we get ready to install our sheetrock. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about was this flooring system. I told you that we were trying to build it around the existing floor. We were able to do that around these old piers and that giant girder. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to put the original joists back into place. It's just not going to work. And I hate that because I wanted to leave them exactly as we found them. But what that has done is freed us up with a lot of old, big, beautiful lumber that we are going to repurpose in other places, like making a hood to go over the stove out of old wood. All right, still in the kitchen, and the framing around this window is in really bad shape. I mean, yeah, that's pretty bad. So we've got to replace that piece, but the siding on the other side is nailed to it. So we're gonna have to get the Sawzall in there and surgically remove that piece. Piece is successfully removed, and look what we found. More Roman numerals. Okay, so hey, that window over there was 6, you remember? This one is 8. So that one must have been 7. So sadly, this piece is completely shot. I am in the wallpaper room looking through that window that was the back of the house into the kitchen. You remember last week I showed you this one. Right here is a V1 or a 6. We saved this piece of the piece we just took out. There's 8. So by my figuring, the window to the right of the front door would have been 1, 2. We got 3 and 4 on the side of the house. 5 is not there anymore. It would have been the window that looks into Captain Smith's office. This is 6. That window's 7. And then the one we just took out is 8. So there's our 8 very clearly. But all over the house are these 13s. They're everywhere. I can show them to you in multiple places. And they're very different. They're very finely put in versus these, which were very, very carefully and very thickly, very deeply, that's the word I want to use, very deeply etched in. So anyway, now we got to figure out why these 13s are everywhere. So we are still working on that one rotten window. The window seal is pretty rotten too, so we're going to carefully remove that and replace that window seal. Thankfully, the trim across the top and on the sides are in good shape. But rotten window seal is getting replaced. Okay, I told you that window seal was rotten. It's real rotten. It's real rotten. So we are going to take that out and replace it with a new one. So the rotten window seal is out. And you can see we've put lots of new wood all around it. And now we have to fabricate a new window seal. And for the first time, we are putting our old floor joist to work. We are going to use one, cut some of the length off, and we are going to use one of those to create our new window seal. We are getting there. So this is the old window seal. It was angled. This is the new one made from the old floor joists. And the coolest thing is, check out the grain and the rings on that bad boy. I mean, that is some old wood. So our window seal is complete. First of all, I'm totally impressed that he took a chunk of wood. Here's the other half of that chunk of wood. And that he, my awesome carpenter, that he saw this in there, that he could see this piece of wood becoming this window seal. This is, by the way, ridiculously heavy. I'm also seeing just how pretty this wood is. He just lightly sanded that. So because we're going to repurpose a lot of this wood, what I'm going to do now is take this scrap here and I'm going to cut it in chunks, or maybe just mark it and do some research and decide when we use these wood pieces in the house, do we lightly sand them? Do we stain them? Do we leave them exactly the way they are? I don't know. I've got to do some test runs to figure out exactly what is the best look. But we have a window seal. Pretty soon you're going to see us. We're going to put it in that window. All right, folks, the window seal is going in. And it fits like a glove. Perfecto. So we no longer have a rotten window seal, but this new one is made from the original wood from the original house. 237-year-old timber turned into a window seal. All right, so we are still adding our blocking. I'm like 99% sure that I'm gonna leave this brick exposed. I just think it's super cool. I may not leave this part, the surround, exposed, because I don't think that's as old and it's painted, but this chimney, I'm pretty positive we're gonna leave that exposed. So we're gonna have to do a little bit more blocking across the top so we have something to screw our sheetrock ceiling to. You can see we're just putting in lots and lots of wood. I can't recall if I've told you this or not. So we are going to have to add additional support across this beam. We're concerned that it just doesn't have the structural integrity to hold the weight of the room upstairs. So we're going to have to do an engineered beam there, which is going to make it thicker. And of course, engineered beams are not pretty. But what we are going to do is we're going to remove these arches here and here, take those down, save them, of course, put the new engineered beam in. We're going to have to really jack up the walls here and here to hold that. And then we are going to try to take one of our old floor joists, just like you saw that we used to make our window seal. We're gonna rip those down and wrap the new engineered beam so that it still looks like the beam that's here. And then we're gonna put those arches back. I normally don't like wrapped beams because they look artificial, but our goal is to try to keep it as close to the original beam that was there, and will still be there, but it'll just be sandwiched between an engineered beam. And I think it's pretty cool that we're going to be repurposing the original floor joist. They're just going to move on up a little bit, going to move up a story. So those are on order. Those have a nice long lead time, so it's going to be a little while before we do that, but when we do, I'll be sure to show you. Okay, we are wrapping up a week, but we finally got all the blocking done in the kitchen. Super excited about this. So we've still got to get that engineered beam up top. We're still waiting for that to arrive. We are going to leave these floors open because we have to have them inspected. We also need access under the house for the electrical and the plumbing and the HVAC. So all that's going to remain open for a little bit. But for the most part, the kitchen is ready to go. So what do we do this week? Pretty much spent the whole week in the kitchen, but I am glad that you were here to see it. So you know the drill: like, subscribe, ask any questions you have, and make sure you come back next week to see what's happening at the Hyatt house.